Yeah, it probably took me, I probably thought about it a couple of times throughout my last employment, but what really sort of prompted me to do it this time was I wasn't really getting any job satisfaction with my job. There's a couple of decisions that were made that I didn't sit right with me, and I knew that actually I thought I've got 20 years experience here and I knew that the small businesses really needed that help. I do enjoy um, supporting businesses and getting them out of sticky situations which you can find yourself into. So yeah, that was probably the reason why is that I thought, right, now's the time. If I don't do it now, I've always wanted to do it, and I know I can help a lot of people. I think I went for it hell for leather. That's all I could say. I just like chucked myself into everything, but everything was a rush. I felt like I needed to know everything now. I needed to be involved in that. I think I had a bit of FOMO, fear of missing out. Um, Instead of just taking the time and enjoying the journey, because it wasn't HR that was the problem and the missing information. It was how to run a business. And I was probably floundering for quite a lot of it, to be quite honest. And I think what you Yeah, I think I had quite high expectations of where I should be at and not looking at it in a realistic way to say, just pace yourself. So I would say it's been up and down for the last 12 months, and it only started to feel comfortable, I would say, is month 10, which was beginning of this year. I thought, right, I feel like I found my way. I feel like I've got things in place, and I feel like I had processes and systems, and I knew my offer a bit better because I really didn't know, I hadn't done that much planning in what how I was going to package up myself. Apart from the fact I'm bolting on HR to businesses, I'd not done any more than that. Trial and error, I think. Trial and error. I had a real big issue with asking for money. Um, I couldn't get over it really for a long time, and so I probably devalued the package. So the first sort of few clients I had, and I suppose what you do, you live and learn, don't you? So the first couple I had, I quoted for, but then the amount of time I spent on them was so obvious that I'd undersold it. And so that gives you the confidence. The next time that comes round, you know how much time, because it's all about time in my business. I can give the advice, but it's the time around it, looking into what that advice should be and looking into the background of the problem. Um, so I'd underestimated time a lot. And then I was faffing around wondering what my price per hour should be, and should I charge per day? Should I do hourly rate? Shall I do and it was I think it takes a lot of energy that, um, because actually there's just no right or wrong answer to that. Obviously, you don't want to be too cheap because people think, well, why are you too cheap? And you don't want to price yourself out of the market, that you're not achievable either. So in the end, um, somebody said to me, "What do you feel comfortable with saying?" And that's how I said, "Well, I feel I am worth this, and I'd be happy to show up for this and do the job for this." And it made it a lot easier to say, and it made it less complicated because some of my retainer package were just so convoluted and complicated. Even I was like, reading it, I think it, so it made it really easy when somebody said that I literally just stripped it right back, and there's just half day rate, full day rate. And if people want to buy hours on a trainer, that's what they get for they buy the hours for the year, and that's it. And that's how I kind of landed with it. And it's simpler for me to say. I've just said it then. There's no way I could have said that with what I was trying to do a year ago. And it's easy. It's just easy. So that's I think that's how I got over it because I'm not uh, I'm not overly confident in that kind of valuing. Well, I wasn't then, but probably I am now. So that's what you've got to get over, I think. Yeah. When I look back at where I have given advice, overly advised, should I say, there's been a need for me. It's quite early on in some of them where I was just wanting a clients. When you're in that desperation to get your first one or two clients. And so you giving a little bit more to almost like persuade them that I am viable, I'm credible, this is what I can do. But actually I've solved the problem for them and they've gone off and done it themselves. That's one area that I check. And the way I try and control it again is where I book a call, where they go and book a call, I'll put some qualifying questions in. Um, that will actually, before I get on that call, I'll have an idea of how to sort the wheat from the chaff. That's not the best way to do it, but sort the people who just want to come on and pick your brains for an hour or 30 minutes are the ones that have got a real genuine need and problem, and the ones that I might need to signpost elsewhere. Um, that has helped. And then the other thing I've done is limited my time on the calls. So I offered an hour free, which is a lot. You can solve a lot in an hour. So I've reduced that down to 30 minutes. And there'll be kind of, I've tried to have like funnels for each scenario really. And I've got right on my wall behind, I've got my pillars of where I can dip into businesses. That's where I can help. So I'll have that pillar there and I'll think, right, I can jump in here at onboarding, or I can jump in here to sort this disciplinary or whatever they are in that kind of journey with their business. So I've put things in place to keep me focused on the call. I've got the qualifying questions and I'll have a route where I think it should go. I mean, it might change when you jump on a call, but there's always an outcome where I need to sort of push the call to. And that might or not always be that it proceeds to a sale, because if they're not willing to answer the qualifying questions, or they're not open to the suggested next route, they're not my client. Yeah, honestly, it consumed me. So this one particular client, I go by my gut, Jean, a lot, and right from the word go, so they contacted me via LinkedIn, which was probably early on in my maybe 6 months in, 3 to 6 months, but something just didn't add up right from the connection, because there was on the connection it said dentistry, and then when I got into the look at the profile, it said something else. So that is always a red flag. That was my first little red flag. Then something else, because it didn't turn out to be dentistry at all. And then my next flag was the story kept changing. Some of the things, if you're running as a business, why wouldn't you look at this stuff? So I had the hour phone call with him. Then I went out to have another hour one-to-one with him and his business partners. But at this point, I think I was just run with it. I'd never actually thought there's something was going to come from it, but I thought this is good to go through because it tests what you want to do. But I was right. It didn't go anywhere. My gut was right, should I say? Because somebody said to me, are you, are you, are you, are you prepared to ever to think your gut might not be right this time? So it was a little bit of an exercise. And well, let's just test it. And it wasn't. No, it didn't come to anything. But I'd invested so much. I should have listened to my gut. I should have. ended it, but because I gave them literally a 6-month culture change program right in the hands. Yeah, I've learnt from that one. But it was a good exercise. I've taken some good things from it because actually um, it started to help build what my consultation calls could look like. I still had lots of learning to do. It helped me build another offer and tweak an offer. So every day's a learning day, isn't it? I think initially that's what I was obsessed with, and actually I didn't need to be. When you're setting up, when you're starting out, there's you've not got if you've got clients, it's not going to be a massive client base, so you don't need. I was probably focusing on the stuff that could come later. So I was focusing on, oh, let's get a website, let's get my business cards, let's get a lot. I've got to look professional, and that has to come, definitely has to come, but it doesn't have to come all at the same time. Because actually, what's I have done, I think there is a point where I think you probably need to get some systems in place. So, for example, I got some form of website put in place beginning of the year because my thought process around that, although it's not all singing, all dancing, people will go to probably my website and LinkedIn to check because that's exactly what I do. So as long as there's a landing page there and something that says what I do and how to contact me, I haven't gone all out, all singing, all dancing because that can come later. I don't need to test my analytics yet because you know that's the thought process around why I did what I did there. Um, with the systems, I think what if I'm not very techy, um, but I think a lot of it. I've always said that all my life, but and I'm not great with figures. I've always said that all my life, but actually, when you buckle down to do it, not the techie yet. I'm not got, but I've um, got free agent, which is obviously an accounting bookkeeping thing. Once you do it and you do it regularly, you can do it. But a year ago, I'd have said I can't do that because I'm not good with numbers. So if you're going to start with a system and you're not that techie or you're not that good with numbers, all I'd say is do it regularly. It's like anything else. If you don't do it regularly, you forget. Oh no, I do. And the other thing is that with a techie, I'm still not very good at it. But what I would do, and what I still haven't done yet, is write processes on how to do things. Because by the time you come around and do it again, it takes you so long to figure out what you did. If you just had a written process to follow, that would be a lot easier. So I would say you don't have to go away all in with all the software and CRM straight away and websites. But what I would say is anything new that you're doing that's not in your comfort zone, I would write a process for it so you can refer back to it. So when you go out and to be a freelancer, I think the biggest thing I noticed was your support structure's gone, literally. Your colleagues that you used to refer to, your colleagues that you used to bounce ideas off, uh, check your thought process, what would you do? That's all gone. And that really kind of shakes you up a little bit because you just feel quite on your own. So that's one of the things I'd say is, if you can always ask for help wherever that is. But I didn't ask for help for quite a long time. And there's obviously other people doing what I do out there as freelancers. I avoided those people thinking I'm competing. Wrong move. Because I've met some lovely HR consultants that are just feeling the same as I am and doing the same and there's plenty enough work. But I suppose that's kind of the thing when you're going from employment to freelancer, you don't know the etiquette. I don't know what the right word is, but yeah, you just don't know. So, but they would be the things I would say don't fear and just go and make those connections and build those relationships with people that do what you do because we all need help. It might be my need for help one week, but they might need my help the week after. Do you know what I mean? you have to be realistic. You have to be committed to showing up day in, day out, week in, week out, and you have to be consistent in what you're saying. And I thought originally the first few months, oh, I've done a post that'll do for a couple of weeks, or I've had a conversation that'll do. It's almost like that continuity of the messages that you're giving and showing up on LinkedIn at networking. And it's hard. That's hard work, isn't it? It's a different form of hard work because there's nobody giving you a measure of how well you're doing. Nobody's saying to you, "You're doing everything right, Emma." Tick, 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 tick. You just so that's the hard things. It's a bit of a mindset. So you can either sit there and wallow, and I've done some wallowing. I've done some major wallowing, or you can just flip it and say, just flip it and just I mean, and that's only come recently. I'd say January, February time was seemed to be the turning point for me. For well, that's not helping you. Let's just flip it and move on. So I don't think I was very resilient last year, but I think a lot of it comes down to because I think I felt, and this is not wrong. It's probably a natural thing to happen, but it's where your resilience levels lie is where you didn't close that sale or you didn't sort of open up a door in a business, taking it personally that it's about you. And it's not actually about you at all. And um, it might not be the right time for them. They might never really have been invested in the first place. Or and so I think that was the first sort of test of resilience is try and that will link back to mindset as well. They come hand in hand. Get a bit of a side hustle going if you can. So if you're part-time, just test the water, start doing a little bit of networking around it, just start going to groups if you can, just to start talking about what you do. And that's your practice session really. It gets you into that zone of networking or whatever before you leave the bit a secure job, because that's basically it, isn't it? You are letting go. That's one salary or that other salary that normally comes into a business, that a home. I would save up 3 months worth of salary if you can. I didn't. And it's not a race. They are specialists. I am specialized in HR. So just back yourself really, because you know your stuff. The new stuff is just learning to the business and learning a new way of working. So I thought, because I know a lot of people have got small SME businesses and they have all got people problems. So I actually thought that I would get work pretty quickly. So but I did get work. It all came out of my phone. So that's the other sort of thing I'd like to sort of point out is share what you're doing now with everybody you know. I literally went through all my personal contacts. Any contacts I had on, like, I just literally flooded it. This is what I'm doing now. If you need any help, if you know of anybody else. And actually I had a lot of work. Probably I don't know, months 3 to 6, a lot of work from my phone book, contacts. But that dries out. So I didn't have anything probably for a couple of months, which is only natural because I think you're just finding your feet a little bit. You're trying to navigate where you're meant to go, what you're meant to do, who you're meant to speak to. And then I had a really good intermediate period last year because all that stuff coming out my contacts in my phone. And then that dries out. So, and then it's almost like you feel like you're starting the process again. because you're getting a bit of, oh, this is great, this is great, this is just what I expected. So it's almost like, so it's having to be what I should have been doing at that time is going out marketing and selling for the next 3 to 6 months. And that's what you've got to manage really, because when you're on a roll, you're on a roll, but it'll come to an end unless you've got another, if you've worked with the client previously, you've got another problem or something else has happened. So it's working in advance. So you're not going to get it straight away. Use your contacts and everybody you know, send messages, and then plan for that next 3 to 6 months, however one, because it'll come, to avoid it. To avoid you sat there going, what do I do now then? So I didn't really use social media when I left work to be a freelancer, but my natural one was LinkedIn. And what I thought was like enough of posts on LinkedIn was far way away from what I needed to be, according to the experts. So I feel like I've thrown everything at LinkedIn as much as I can physically do, as in what else I've got in my life. But I feel like I've shown up regularly there. I feel like I've tried different things. And probably my last two or three, probably three clients, I think have come via all the work I've done. So it's taken a long time because I think people might not always see your posts. It's just so hard to judge, isn't it, really? But I can say confident the last three ones have come from LinkedIn. I feel like people are floating, just still watching what I do. But I still think that all my referrals and all my clients, apart from the last three, have probably come from who I know or people I know that have been referred to me. So yeah, I think it's got its place. I don't think it's a be or not. I think it's good to show what you do and for people to get an understanding of what you do and you a little bit. I still prefer face-to-face meeting people, and networking and having one-to-ones, because I think it's all about relationship building for me, whether I'm working with a business or through networking, with the connections with people within other businesses. So yeah, it's got its place. It has a use. I wouldn't rely on it heavily. I didn't like networking, I've got to be honest. Um, Only because I suppose it's just I'm quite not extrovert's not the wrong word, but I'm happy talking to people. I'm happy being in a room with people and having those conversations. I think it's overwhelm. So not over it's overwhelm of new to business, overwhelm new to ways of working, overwhelm what the hell should I do in networking? What do I say? What do I look like? What do I sound like? All of it all goes through your head. Um and I suppose all it's like anything else, it becomes easier with time because you become more confident with what you are as a brand and what you offer. You get more confident about talking about it. And I think if you go into it like it's just a conversation, um, everybody else is in the same boat too. They must be because um, so yeah, I've got to say it was difficult. I didn't enjoy it, if I've got to be honest. But it's not that I don't like talking to people. It's more the whole situation. Um, but it becomes easier. That's all. I don't think I'll ever say I love it, because I won't. What I've got from networking is a support group, people that you can ask for help from. Um, you will learn something new every time you go. Not just, you can come away with all sorts. You're making great new connections, and some of those connections just might be your next client, or they might know somebody who will be your next client. And those are the things that I walk into every network. And I know it's not a comfortable experience, but that's generally what I come away with, and that's worth its weight in gold, really. People and culture are my bag. That's, and I know it doesn't make sense to everybody. HR does, but I want to strengthen that element of so it still be HR, but more working on the culture of a business, and finding better ways to explain that, I suppose, because not every company will be the right company that to work with, because that's just not their bag. And also specializing more in areas around protective characteristics, because I can see now with the case law that's coming out, the sexual harassment, disability discrimination, unfair dismissals, and others. There's lots going on there, and I think some businesses could go under getting this wrong. If you're a large organisation, you've got buffer zones, haven't you, if you get it wrong? But for SMEs, with this particular area, they're going to come a cropper, because I've seen it. This year, just in this last year. I've helped people out of sticky situations. So I feel like I kind of want to go towards that protective characteristics specialism, really, because I think I've got lots of experience in that area in employment too. So, and I kind of want to build 50% more clients on a retainer package. I'll always do the project work and ad hoc work. I just want a nice set of clients. I don't want loads of work. I just want a core set of clients that I work with regularly, and then I'll dip in to do the specialist projects where people have got themselves into sticky situations. So the most rewarding thing is that I'm by far a completely different person than I was a year ago in lots of ways. The self-belief has come back, self-confidence has come back. I've learnt so many skills from attending all these networking groups, attending webinars, attending the sort of master classes that are part of these network groups. It's been an absolute eye-opener. That I'm thinking, where the heck have I been for the last 15 years? I've been sat in a room looking at local government policies and procedures, local government ways of working, and not a clue what's going on in the outside world. I wouldn't have done webinars. I wouldn't have done podcasts. I wouldn't have been able to bookkeep. So I think I've grown in myself. I suppose I've tested myself and realised I've got a lot of other abilities that have never been uncovered. But I wouldn't have believed that. Categorically, would not have believed I could do any of it a year ago. But I think that's the process, and that's more valuable to me than having loads of clients in the first year, because I think that'll set me up now to help progress my business how I need to. Whereas if I didn't have all that, I wouldn't be able to.